everybody. It's me, Rob Ryan. Welcome back to Entrepreneurial Thinkers. Who doesn't love chocolate? I know I love chocolate. And if you love chocolate, or you've ever been curious about how to build a chocolate business, and not just any chocolate business, but how to source organic, natural, environmentally conscious products from Colombian farmers, and then take those amazing, custom, natural, curated products into bigger urban markets in Colombia, and now across the pond, so to speak, into Madrid, into the Spanish market via Madrid. If you've ever been curious about that kind of a journey, this is the show you want to check it out. My friend, Juan Carlos Garavito, and I, who've known each other for 8-9 years or so, got together today to talk about his journey, having gone from career government employee and private sector employee on that side of the table, on the supporting entrepreneurial economic development side of the table, to jumping in midlife and deciding to become an entrepreneur himself and build his first company. And he's building Moxe Foods. And Moxe Foods is delivering exactly what I talked about before. And you're going to want to hear this. You're going to want to hear Juan Carlos's uniquely experienced, skilled perspectives on the differences between entrepreneurial economies and entrepreneurial ecosystems in Latin America or the West, and the US and Europe. You're going to want to hear about his best practices for how to navigate these cultural differences and how to take advantage of them. He's going to give you some advice about how to build a global mindset, and also how to build socially responsible businesses in an era when socially responsible premium product businesses are the future. So we packed a ton into this interview, and I hope, but I'm confident you're going to enjoy it as much as we enjoyed making it for you. Hola, hello, hi, bienvenido, and welcome back, or welcome to Entrepreneurial Thinkers. Today, we're super excited to be joined by my longtime friend, Juan Carlos Garavito, who is now the co-founder and managing director of Moxe Foods, which I just learned to pronounce right before we came on air. Juan Carlos I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. He's an experienced entrepreneurial thinker, as I like to say. He helped seed the innovative entrepreneurial economy of his homeland in Colombia. He is a seasoned executive with a diverse background in both the private and public sectors. He's got deep experience in all the necessary business practices to both help entrepreneurs build businesses, as well as build a business himself now, negotiation, business planning, international business. And he has proven himself in our friendship and over the years of his career to really be dedicated to helping companies elevate kind of their operations and expand their reach, which he's now doing in his own business. So he's currently serving as the co-founder and managing director of Moxe Foods. He has additionally held significant roles over the course of his career in organizations such as the European Patent Office, the Fundación Ciento, which I had to practice saying a few times today, where he continues to make impactful contributions. He's got a very global perspective, and that's been shaped by his education at institutes like the IESE Business School and the University of Oxford. And he has literally, one of the things that I've always enjoyed about our friendship and about his work is that he is literally committed to building bridges and not walls. And even before this current endeavor and his move to Madrid, which he'll tell us all about, he was then even really focused on building bridges between Latin America and Europe. And so as a guy who lives to build bridges between North America and South America, or between the US and Latin America, I'm always eager to hear the latest opinions from my buddy Juan Carlos. So Juan Carlos, welcome to Entrepreneurial Thinkers. It's great to see you.
Oh, it's great to see you too. It's like a pleasure just to be talking again about this fantastic topic that is like entrepreneurship and innovation.
Yes, absolutely. No, I always say these interviews, if they're done well, they're basically just a conversation between two people talking about stuff that we love to talk about.
Yes, and I think it's the most important thing at the end, no? Just like being
Absolutely.
talking and being like connect with this like important topics that we love to talk about, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, it should make it very easy. So just a little quick logistics for our audience that's listening. So Juan Carlos is originally from Colombia. That's where he and I connected in when I was in Mexico and he was in Colombia, in the South American entrepreneurial ecosystem, and really got to know each other well through that. He's been actually a past guest on an earlier edition of this show in its prior rendition years ago as a panel with a bunch of other really good, talented people from the region. But he's coming to us tonight live from Madrid, Spain, which I'm giving him a shout out because it's like 1:45 in the afternoon here in Los Angeles, which means it's like 10:45 or 11 o'clock or something almost
It's
there.
almost 11 o'clock here, but doesn't matter. You know how the people are like here in Spain, yeah? They go to bed like quite late.
Right, it's just dinner time. So this is, I said, this is Entrepreneurial Thinkers After Dark tonight. That's the
Yeah.
special episode we're going to do. So I'm going to jump right into the first question because it's as I thought about this conversation with you, it's the thing that I want to learn the most about today,
Hmm.
right? Which is you have now worked on both sides of the table, as I like to call it. You've built a career supporting entrepreneurs and building an entrepreneurial economy along with a lot of other great people in Colombia where there was none. But now, as a founder, you've stepped to the other side as a founder and entrepreneur of a consumer products company, Moxe. And I'm curious, multi-part question, like what's the biggest difference that you feel between these two roles? And I'm sure there are a bunch of them,
Yeah.
right? And then the more important question maybe is, why did you make this career move?
Yeah, I think it's like all the people are just asking the same question, no? Because like I had the opportunity to be working in the both sides, you know, like not only like supporting the entrepreneurs in the public sector, also working as a corporate in a corporate level too, you know? Like this also really important just to have an experience of being like working in like in big corporations or like being working as a in different managing roles, like not only in Colombia, in many countries. I have started my career here in Spain, working in the pharmaceutical company. Imagine, completely different as the things that I'm doing right now. It was like really interesting to be working in a Swiss company. Also, I work in Switzerland, in Basel, in many projects too. And I also had the opportunity to be like studying in Oxford, as you mentioned before. It's like it was like a really good experience just to have like different, like I don't know, ideas that they were like coming from my profile. And of course it's like a completely different like world, if we can just like describe it like this, when you are like working in a government helping the
Sure.
entrepreneurial world. What we were like trying to create was like the ecosystem, helping entrepreneurs or like helping just to create more entrepreneurs in Colombia and also in the regions. Because when I was like working in Impulsa, the agency of entrepreneurship and innovation in Colombia, we were also leading, and that's why we met you, and in
Mm-hmm.
Mexico, the Pacific Alliance like group, where we are like trying to combine
Yeah.
different policies in Latin America, in countries as Mexico, like Chile, Peru, and Colombia, that were the first one that they were part of a Pacific Alliance, and also to integrate, because in some way it's like really important for entrepreneurs just to understand what they are like doing in other countries, and also just to expand their business. No, this is what always like we were like looking for. No, how we can
See?
just like help these entrepreneurs to move out of what they were like doing in their current country, and how can they expand their business in other countries as Mexico, or like in Peru, or like in Chile, but also abroad. No, that's why we were like creating a lot of alliances, not only with Latin America, with the US too, and
See?
with many European countries. And of course it's completely different when you are like sitting creating this like a public policy to foster
Yeah.
the innovation and entrepreneurship in Colombia than to being currently doing your own business, no? Like, and a
Right.
crazy
Like
business.
now you are the benefactor of the policy. Now you have to go do the things that you were trying to create conditions for others to do.
Yes, of course, and also many people were like asking me why I was not like studying like an IT like business, and that's why that's why I just jumped in the entrepreneurial like world. Because when I was like working for my first time at the government, when I had to be like jumping from the private like sector to the public sector, I had the opportunity of being what the needs of our my country, of course,
Mm,
and I started to think, what can we do more for these people that are not like as lucky as we are? No, we are like quite lucky people. We need just to be grateful
sure.
for all the things that we have been like doing in some ways, because like it's like really difficult for people who are like not having the same chance as us, just like being living
See.
abroad, just
Yeah,
like.
privilege is a responsibility, right?
Yes, and I think it's like a responsibility, and it's important. Just if we are not us, the ones who can just like change people's lives, who are like gonna do it, no? And in that sense, since I was like working at the government, and also when I was like living here, just like thinking about it, just to how can we were like thinking, or like with many people, no, with your friends and many like conversation as the one that we are like having. What else can we do just to like help like people just to move out for the poverty, or like trying to see other opportunities abroad? And since then, when I was like working at the government for first time, I see like many needs that our country has, and I say, okay, what else can we do, no? And in that sense, I always were like thinking in more like products than as services,
Mm,
no, like more
okay.
like a tangible products, and how can we connect like the country with the world in some way, and of course that with
So,
services
so
you can just like do it too.
you were thinking like there are things that we make in Colombia or that we grow in Colombia that are unique that like we should offer these things to the rest of the world as the bridge, as opposed to start another law firm or start another IT firm or start another software company.
Yeah, it was like exactly as you mentioned. And also when you see like when I was like traveling to Colombia and I saw all the needs, I started to think, okay, this is like something that we need just to work on it. And also with experience that I had, that it was not coming from the food sector, of course. I was
Right.
like pharmaceutical, or like being like completely more like in a business environment. I also like try to combine what I really like too. Like I really like business. I really like just like being working in a corporate, like not like in a business, creating business plan or like strategies. And how can we or how will be like doing combining both, no, in some way. That's why I
Yeah.
was like trying to see, okay, if we are gonna like create like more a social business, that I don't like to use social word, because I think all the entrepreneurs are social at the end. They're like creating opportunities for other
Yeah.
people, that for me is like the most important thing. And also maybe our difference was, how can we create a business with a different like a business model, no, just to be more fair with the whole value chain, no, since the
Yeah.
beginning, where we're like in our case are the cocoa farmers, to our clients or customers.
Yeah.
And in that sense, many years thinking about it, and after moving for many sectors, like pharmaceutical sector, working in the public sector in different activities, working in an IT company, working in as my last job that was on intellectual property, managing the activities in Colombia and in the region. I was starting to think, what can we do more? And with a friend who is based in Colombia, we decided to start this magnificent like opportunity or business that calls Moxe.
Yeah.
That Moxe means thanks in Ticuna language. The Ticuna are like
Okay.
the indigenous who are living in the Amazonian region.
Okay, I'm gonna jump ahead, and we're gonna come back and talk about some of the other stuff. But since we're in it, getting started here, let's talk about Moshe. So we kind of know the seed story of how it happened, but tell us what it is, tell us what you're doing, and tell us why.
Yes, of course. Like Moshe was like this. I think it's like a dream come true, because when we were like talking about this opportunity to be starting a new, more social business, and when I came back here with my last company, I say, why not to start the business right now? We are always like
Okay,
thinking in the future, when is the best
right,
moment, and I was thinking maybe the moment is now.
absolutely. The best moment is always right now, right? Because the tomorrow is just today, like one day later.
Yes, no, yes, as you mentioned, and the moment was like in at that moment when we were just like starting. I also took like a sabbatical moment here in Europe, just to think
Okay,
about my next step, and I went to live in Italy for a while, for like 6 months.
yeah,
And then was like when I started to think about this business again, I spoke with my friend who was like living in Colombia, or is currently living in Colombia. And I say, okay, let's
yeah.
start like seeing if there is more opportunities about the cocoa. Let's start the research. And then in 2022, in September, we start like the business.
Yeah. Okay. Here's what I would love you to tell me a little bit more about. So, Moxe Foods, what's the main product, and then like so since 2022, now we're in the middle of 2024. What has happened since then?
it's crazy, no? Because I think I'm still crazy like with this business, because start a food company is not easy when you are like
No.
working from a different, or you are like coming
Yeah.
from different sectors.
I don't think starting a CPG or food company is easy, even in the best of conditions.
Yes, with the regulation that we have here in Europe too, no? Like importing chocolates, because at the end, the main products that we are currently have is like three chocolates that we decided to launch last year. We started the business in 2022, but it started with the idea, with the
Yeah.
name, with the brand.
So really, the product, like creating product and selling product, really probably started what,
Yes.
2023?
And yes, because at the end, we
Yeah.
launched the products in 23 in April, 1 year ago.
Okay. Okay.
And during at the end of 2022, I was also traveling to Colombia to meet the cocoa farmers to select where regions we're gonna take them, or we're gonna like produce our chocolates. And then in 2023 in April, we launched the products in Colombia and in Spain.
Okay. So, all right. So to give some context while you drink some water, so we're working, if I'm hearing you right, we're working with local, like, so we're really sourcing locally, like
Yeah.
high quality product from either indigenous communities or just local farmers, right?
Yes, local
Local
farmers. It's like
traders.
associations that produce
And then
in Colombia.
we're packaging those products. We're packaging those raw materials into a couple of products, a couple of different types of chocolates, and then we're selling them in more like urban areas, in bigger markets in Colombia, and then we're also selling them in Madrid.
In Madrid, yeah. Right now we are
Okay,
like
and
selling.
we're a little over a year into this now. And how's it going?
It's going well. I have to admit that that's why we decided just to continue in the business, because the first year was more like a testing, just to taste the product here in Madrid and in the
Sure.
markets. And we see that there is like a lot of opportunities for this kind of products in Europe, for because the consumers are changing completely their behaviors into consume like products that have a story behind, no? Like in a story like
Right.
that like people need to know exactly where these products are coming from.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
also when
More premium purpose kind of. If I could choose two chocolate bars and one is made by Target or sells on Amazon, and one has a story of being made by sourced locally in the hills of Colombia and then packaged beautifully, like I'm going to choose this one.
yes, yes, and also
Yeah,
because it's a really good product too. I always say that we are like selling a high quality like chocolate with a
yeah,
story behind, and also like we spend a lot of time and money with the designers, with them how we're gonna package them, and because
yeah,
we understood that it was like important also to have like a really good image if we were like selling in or if you decided, because we decided to sell here in Europe, and we know how the consumers in Europe are, no, like they are like when they are like trying to consume like a product, or when they consume a premium product, they are looking for everything, not it's only that it's a good
I
product, that
see.
is a story behind, but how the product looks
the
like.
the whole experience, so to speak. Yeah, of any premium product of any sort, right? I mean that's kind of the consumer experience is very valued nowadays, as you said, and it's all woven together with the storytelling. I'm curious. A question for you. So another question. So I'm curious, as you leaned into this industry. So go back, you and your friend were talking about it, and then 2022, you start researching and you start really talking to cocoa producers in Colombia, and you start learning. I'm sure first time
Yeah,
for
of
you,
course.
right? And learning about it. Did you because you're such an entrepreneurial thinker, it's just part of how you look at markets. Did you see inside of, say, the chocolates industry or the food industry overall? Did you see like opportunities for more entrepreneurial thinking, for different entrepreneurial ways of selling or of growing? Did you see those? Did you see
Yes,
those? You
of
did.
course. There is a lot of opportunities right now in the sector, in the food
Okay.
sector, and that's why many entrepreneurs are like moving to the sector, because as we are all seeing, we are like having terrible problems just feeding the world, no? Just like with the consumption of like the products right now is like moving up quite rapidly, no? Like quite fast, and also we need just to find new solutions of creating like products at the
Yeah.
end, or like how can we are like gonna consume and also to produce,
Right.
no? And this sector is like moving like quite fast. Agrotech is moving like fast in many countries, and many also governments are like putting a lot of effort and money just to support these entrepreneurs, and also to like understand, because it's like it's really sad, like the waste of aliments or like food that we are
I
like,
was going to say, right.
and also we need just to understand how to consume, no, in
Yeah, because
some.
we're so, I mean, we're so wasteful across everything. I was preparing this morning for an interview that I'll do this Thursday with someone, a young woman entrepreneur here in Los Angeles who's in the fashion industry, right? And so she's just trying to figure out how to create more sustainable, reusable, kind of circular modeling
Model,
around
yeah.
fashion, because we have become this society that just will consume from Shine or from Temu, and just everything is just disposable, right? So our food, the same thing, right? I mean, I
It's
read,
the same thing. This morning I
yeah,
was having a conversation with a friend with this like Alibaba Express here in Europe, that all people are like consuming just rubbish. Sorry to tell you.
yeah,
It's like, and also it's buying things that they are not gonna use because they're cheap, it's quite cheap.
right.
But it's like, come on guys, I think we need just to like stop a little bit that wave, no?
See, see,
And,
and once that kind of beast gets unleashed, I would imagine you can tell us, but then the local farmers or the local creators of the raw materials or the raw goods, they oftentimes just get left on the
yeah, of
side,
course.
right?
And
Because
in
it just
some,
becomes like big corporations who make like synthetic versions of that, and we can,
and I think that's why we are like in our case we start like with chocolates, but we hope in the future we're gonna move to other products too, no? Because
okay,
what we were like trying to create is a different like model, no, like a different like business
see,
model to support all of the like the parts in the chain. Of course, like it's really important just to understand how our cocoa farmers lives, because it's in some way they are producing a really high quality of cocoa, and sometimes they are not receiving a fair like price for the products that they are like producing, no? And what we are like trying to do is just to connect with this like first part of the chain and pay them like a fair price. We are also producing completely organic, because our main objective was just to also to pay them more, because when they are like
see,
producing organic, you have this extra price like just for them, like for the price of cocoa, but
see,
also like the clients and the customers just appreciate more the organic products too. And also it's like something that we need just to like, if we create a like a company completely social, like responsible, we need just to try. I always say try, because we are not completely sustainable. Like
of
as you
course,
can imagine, we are like not, we are like trying to
yeah,
measure,
yeah, yeah,
but we are like quite small. Like of course, like we're like running out of money. Like you are like
see,
trying to survive as many other entrepreneurs. But I think what is important is just to understand that you need just to like being transparent with your client too, and also just to show which are your next steps. No, what do you want to do? Because in our case, we understand and we know that we need just to like try to change some, like maybe the logistics, or like how produce our package, or like a packaging, or how can we just let's produce more like energy on in some way with the
right,
production side. What we are like trying to like also to connect is just like the consumer with the first part of this, like a product that is like our cocoa farmers,
yeah,
and also just to show like in some way, when we were like doing the research at the beginning, we were like missing with the chocolates brand here in Europe, like these connections with the land, no, like where
okay,
these farmers are producing. Of course, like they have pictures, but in our case we
sure,
need just to
right,
go a little bit further, like
yeah,
come on, this is like something that is happening, just like learn about how the chocolate is produced, the benefits. In some way, if you're buying the chocolates, in like how can we help them with the money that you're like giving us?
right,
And it's really important just to like connect with the client in that way, because as we were like talking
sure,
before, the customers are like changing their behavior, is and it's like quite fast. It's like they are not
yeah,
like, of course this, like we were like talking before Alibaba, well, there is like a like
yeah,
99% of course the people are like, and me all this like We're like
but it feels like, and it's maybe just me and my experiences, but it feels like, as you say, there's a shift coming. Like, and I'm not Pollyannish about it. Is going to happen overnight, and it's
no, it's not
some
gonna. No, it's not gonna.
miraculous.
But it's changing in some way. It's changing.
Yeah, but it does feel like we're entering like potentially like a new era where the backlash against this hyper consumption of everything and the wastefulness of everything is like, there's younger generations. Somebody is in the chain here is saying, wait a minute, there's got to be a better way. And so that bodes very well for the next, I always say long, like 50 to 100
Yeah,
years, right?
and also the governments are playing like
Right,
a really important
exactly.
role, not just
Yeah,
putting more tax on plastics or like this like a plastic bags.
yeah,
Just remember, I always say that, for example, in the US, it's like incredible when you enter in a supermarket and the amount of plastic
yeah.
or like the plastic bags that you receive
It's
at the end. It
insane.
was like
Yeah.
it's
No,
insane.
it's insane. I mean, we still have plastic as a choice, even here in California. But last night when I grabbed my groceries, like, you have the option to say like paper or plastic, right? I was like, no, just
Yeah,
give me the paper bags, right? Like, it's
yeah.
at least a little less damaging. But so I want to go back, because you mentioned so many things in this so far already. I want to try and pull some of it apart a little bit, right? So this idea of social responsibility, and I loved how you even mentioned at the very top in the introduction, or even maybe before we got on, right? So this idea, you don't even use that phrase like social business or social responsibility, because you believe fundamentally, you personally believe that
Mm.
all entrepreneurs or all business people
Yeah.
should be fundamentally like socially conscious, right? So okay, fair, you don't use it to describe yourself, but I know that you and your partner are being very socially responsible and intentional about how you're building Moxe. So are there maybe a couple of specific areas of social responsibility or social awareness that you are focused on right now? Again, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, you'll be focused on 10 areas. But right now, in your infancy stage, are there one or two or three areas where you said, like, we have to do this differently and better?
Since we started like this business, we were like completely focused on our people, no, the people who are like
Okay.
producing the cocoa
So
farmers at
the
the end.
farmers, that's the
Yeah, with
big
the
one.
farmers, and we are like really well connected through the associations because in Colombia, something that is happening, we don't produce a lot of like organic products. That means that we need just to connect with a few of the association just to buy
Okay.
the raw material that is the cacao beans. And since then we were like trying to meet them just to see their needs, how can they we help you them, and but at the end, because we were not coming from this sector, how can we create the sustainable business not only for us and but also for them, no,
But
because
for
if
them,
we
okay.
grow, it's gonna be good for them too, no, and if we can
See.
just like I don't know, to position a really good brand in Europe, for sure, like we are gonna demand more like chocolates, and they are gonna have the opportunity to grow more and to earn more money. No, this
See.
was a specific area that we since the beginning we decided just to go like further, and that's why one of the decisions that we took at the beginning, because we have a maquila who is like working with us to produce the
Okay.
chocolate, just to like being open for, gave us the opportunity to work with the association that we decide, no,
Okay.
just go through the association that we visit. Let's say, okay, this is the where do we want to like buy the chocolates to produce our tablets. And this was the main first focus, and second was also related with the environmental things, no, and because of course it's like if when you hear more about the cocoa like plantations
Yeah.
and the fields, they are like producing a lot of deforestation, no, they are like
Okay.
there are many people, not as in Africa, because in Africa
Sure.
there is like a huge problem for deforestation in some lands in some countries
Okay.
in Africa. We were like trying to create these connections to like have our like where we just get them our raw materials, the cocoa beans were not like deforested areas, no.
Okay. Okay. So even again, more specific choices. So two big considerations I'm hearing so far, right? A concentration on the farmers and the economic model that empowers them while you grow as well. And then this environmental consciousness that says, okay, so hey, we could just if we bought from the wrong people, then we're contributing to another problem while we're solving this one. So we're also going to focus on trying to source from farmers who themselves are being very conscious of their land and are conscious of not deforesting their areas in service of their business. So that's another layer of like specification in your story.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
and also just to continue talking about the environmental topics, we did since the beginning an agreement with one association or like a program that is created in Caquetá. Caquetá is like when we start like the Amazonian region, they call la Puerta de Oro de la Amazonía Colombiana, the Golden Gate for the Amazonian Colombia, like the Colombian Amazonian region. And I had a friend there who was like creating like a nursery for native trees. Coincidentally, like one of our products are coming from that region. And when we
Okay.
saw all the things that this guy was like doing, we decided to like create like an alliance with them, just to like help like the cocoa farmers or like help the
Sure.
people in that region to produce in a more sustainable way and do restoration, not only
Okay.
reforestation,
Okay.
because
Right.
restoration is a different like word that
Sure.
needs to include more like a different aspect, as how can they be more like create a more economic model to survive, and also
Incredible.
how they need just to treat the air. No, it's not only replanting or planting again some
Sure.
trees. It's also like how can the people that are living there, they can just like live with the resources that they are getting from the land.
Yeah. No, it
This
makes
is this
sense.
is really important.
Hugely important. Again, another layer of depth that you guys are consciously applying to the way that you're building your business, while also just building your business, which is hard enough in and of itself. So you made me think of something that I've never thought of. Now I'm going to ask you: raw materials from Colombia. You're manufacturing in Colombia. We're selling some of these chocolate products in Spain.
Yeah.
How does it? Do we ship it on a boat?
Yes,
Do
we are
we?
like shipping it through airplane.
You're small batches and small quantities right
Yeah,
now,
like we are
but
like quite small right now, and it's like
but
this is a really,
eventually,
it's like a, but also we are like selling in Iceland, and we are like selling in Iceland because I studied, as you mentioned, at the ESE Business School. I did a global executive MBA, and I just met a person from Iceland, and she was like completely like involved. Like she loved the idea when I was starting to talk about it, and she asked us to my business partner that is in Colombia, Paola, and myself to
yeah.
jump to this business, and
Can she take it to Iceland for
yeah,
you? Wow,
and
that's pretty
and we are
cool.
like selling in Iceland right now too. It's like a really small like a market at the end, but it's also really important because I think it's like imagine how can we connect that these local territories with like really remotely areas as Iceland is, no? Like
Yeah, no, I mean, I like the idea that you would be connecting a market in Iceland with Colombian natural like environmentally conscious farmers, right? And their raw materials. I mean, that's crazy. So here's another stupid consumer question. Does the travel time, right, across the world, does that affect or is that a thing that does affect product in a way that then you have to consider that? Like is it become less fresh or become like I mean it shouldn't, it's chocolate, right? But I don't know, so I'm asking, you're the chocolatier now.
of course that you need just to be worried about the temperature
Okay.
that these chocolates are gonna pass through them through the whole journey.
Yeah.
Like with the tablets, that's we have been like like exporting the tablets like in a really good manner, like of course like trying to prevent these chocks in the temperature,
Yeah.
like for the chocolates, and not like chipping the, through in like when we have this like weather in Madrid that is July, August,
Right.
that is extremely hot, because they also can affect the chocolate taste, not the tasting but more how they looks like.
Yeah.
It's something that of course like you are like learning by doing, no? And also
I was
because
just
as
gonna
you
say,
mentioned,
these are like I'm asking and I have no idea. You had no idea like probably 3 or 4 years ago, right?
and this is what is exciting, just to be like being in a new
Right.
business,
No,
no?
I
Because
can.
at the end you are like
Yeah.
learning about everything.
Even through your fever and your cough, I can hear your enthusiasm for just the curiosity factor, right? Just all these new things. So, all right, so question or two more on the product and kind of how that happens, and then I want to talk a little bit in the next section more about just your journey and some of the experiences between Europe and Latin America, so we can hit on that. But in this last kind of very specific question about the Moxe products in Madrid or where you're selling them in Colombia, like, are we selling them through chocolate shops? Do we sell them directly to consumers over the internet? Do we do both? Like, what's the sales model for the products?
Of course, it's something that we are also learning, like which channels we are like using right now. We are like mainly in this moment changing completely our first stock, as always happen.
Yeah.
These products need just to be tasted for people. It's
Okay.
like people is not gonna buy a chocolate from Moshe chocolate that is in one store
Right.
if they didn't know exactly what the brand is, or
Sure.
like what is behind the brand. And that's why in this moment we are putting a lot of effort to attend to many fairs and to
Okay.
attend these local markets, like gourmet markets here in Spain, to give the opportunity for our like clients to like taste them, because as
To
soon as
say
they
yeah,
taste it, they love it,
to
and
sample
hear
it.
more about what is the story
The
behind.
story. Sure.
And
Okay. And so is it I mean, get like, is it you
it's
and then
me,
you hire
it's
some
me,
young people to help you? It's just you.
and
Yeah.
another person, and that is helping us also here in
Yeah.
Spain. and
That's
and of
awesome.
course, like my business partner in Colombia doing the same too.
The same
But
back home, sure.
and also it's like a completely different like experience from like a person who was like
Of
coming from
course.
leading companies
Of course.
and agencies in government, just to be like completely humble and sell
Right.
like in
On
market.
standing, yeah, standing in the market on the street next to someone who's selling like honey from bees
Yes.
or strawberries from their farm, right? You have to I mean, that's as direct retail engagement as life
Yes,
gets.
the engagement that you create at the end with the customers and the clients, and it's also like the opportunity just to show your product, because I think the owner at the end is the best one that can sell the products,
Yeah.
because you have the
No,
enthusiastic,
100%.
you have this passions about what you were like
See.
doing. You can just connect better. You can just like tell the others what is the story behind.
See. No, and this is unintentionally, this is a great segue to this next couple of questions. Yes, you studied there. Yes, you started your career there, but like, you're a proud Colombian, right? And so now here you are standing in a market on a street in Madrid, selling your chocolate products with have this amazing story, these great products from Colombia, but you're talking to Spaniards, right? And you're talking to Spaniards who I buy this, I like this chocolate. Like, talk to us about what have you noticed or what have you felt that are the differences or similarities between, entrepreneurship in Colombia and entrepreneurship in Spain.
I think it's like of course there are like differences, no, and in like the two ecosystems are like completely different. And also like something that always happen with the European countries is like they are like a little bit behind in terms of entrepreneurial mindset, no. And I understand exactly, because I study here at the university. Imagine, I have been living I don't know how many
Yeah.
years in
See.
Europe. Like I know many countries in Europe, and they don't have this same mentality or like the same mindset that we have, like that like many people has in having in the
They're
US,
a little bit more conservative, a little bit more traditional,
more traditional.
less entrepreneurial, maybe.
But also I have to admit that the country, for example, as much like as Spain, or like the local like a region as Madrid is, they're putting a lot of effort just to like foster innovation and
Okay.
entrepreneurship like here, and like trying to connect the ecosystem, helping them like just to create a good environment for people who wants to like create a new products. And I think this is something that, as you may know, and we were like talking like long hours about the
Yep.
policies and some things that many countries were like doing before. It's like countries understand that it's like really important just to have a really number of entrepreneurs, just like holding the economy in some way,
See.
and helping the economy just to create a better environment, because at the end we need new businesses, we need just like more opportunities, we need innovation in some way. And that's why it's like this in Europe, if we are like seeing if, like the difference between China and the US, they are still like bit far away, like
Yeah.
behind about what like the US is doing or like with China is
See,
doing. No,
see,
like you go to the I have to admit when I went to the university here in Europe. And it's completely different, no? It's like
see.
the opportunities that you're like having, or in the U.S. or like in Latin America, no? It's like
It's modernizing, but it is still the old world.
yeah, no, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to admit that now they are like putting a lot of effort and they are like magnificent,
That's awesome.
like ecosystems that they are like creating. But in some way, and also, like this is like a different like case than in Latin America, because you know that entrepreneurs sometimes, or like the majority in Latin America, is just because they need just to do something different. No, they need just to survive.
Right.
And that's why like we are like coming with this mindset of like we need just to do
Okay.
something, because at the end, and it's what happening here, the government is not supporting you, like when you
Okay.
are like
Right.
without a job, when you're like fired, or you don't have this
See.
unemployment.
So you individual again, you have a unique perspective because you were there, you left, you come back, you've worked in different capacities there in both places. But now as an entrepreneur, it sounds like your entrepreneurial thinking, your entrepreneurial DNA, right? It sounds like in Spain or in the European markets, that could be kind of a competitive advantage for you. Like
Yes, and I think
it's a bit of a differentiator.
I think it's like a competitive advantage. Yes, I think it was like that's why many. I mean, I think that I see a lot of opportunities for Latin Americans here in Europe, like starting like in Spain, because
Yeah.
Spain is like the door for like being like
See.
operating in Europe, and I think there's a lot of opportunities, because also I think it's like many countries like Mexico or Colombia or Brazil, they were putting a lot of efforts and a lot of like money just like helping entrepreneurs, and they create this mindset in our countries. But also we are still like feeling a little bit afraid to conquer Europe. No, it's easy for us just to move to the US, to Mexico, or like to like this like I don't know, when we have a better feeling just to move on. No, but also for us it's like Europe is like really far away, and also like maybe that's true, and this is not as big market as the US is. And if you are like putting a lot of effort to enter in a market as the Europe is, and you see that they have this like segmentation, because at the end they are like speaking different like
Right. Yeah,
languages
that's the thing.
in each
Yeah,
country is more.
Europe is far less homogenous than either North America or even like South or Latin America. I mean, hey, like we know Chileans don't really speak Spanish; they speak Chilean Spanish, right? But while we joke about that, the truth is it's still pretty homogeneous, except for Brazilians, right?
Yeah,
But
of course,
Europe is very diversified.
completely diverse, and I
Yeah.
think it's like it's really difficult for, and also that's why I'm starting just to think about this question, and I think I will just like continue preferring just to go to the US than come to Europe.
See, see.
At least you were like having a lot of connections, and you see how
Yeah.
if it's easy just to start with. No, in my case, just because I have been living in Europe for
Yeah,
many years,
you're there.
I have the
Yeah.
opportunity. I study here. I studied in the UK. I have
See.
been living in many countries. I have friends everywhere. In my case, it's different. But imagine for a person who was like living in Colombia for the whole. Of course, it's not impossible, as
Yeah.
always happens. No, it's not impossible, but for sure, and also because something that is happening in the United States, in many of Latin American countries, is more easy, just because to be an entrepreneur is more respect in the
See.
US than here.
See. It's more socially acceptable.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
and you know
See.
how important in the US is to be an entrepreneur. It's like
See.
if when you are like,
It's a
and
big deal.
also the companies, when companies are looking for a really good profile, they are
See,
looking for people who were like entrepreneurs before, because entrepreneur
see.
can be like a mindset, but entrepreneurs who were like creating businesses.
Humbly, I'm positing my entire show around the idea that it is a mindset, right? I mean, that's the genesis of this version of the show, is that I believe we don't just need entrepreneurs or investors; we need entrepreneurial thinkers
Thinkers, it's like entrepreneurial thinkers. Many people who are
across
like working
every sector of society.
at big
Exactly.
corporations are like entrepreneurs
See,
too, or many people who are
see,
like work like helping their families are entrepreneurs too. It's
see,
like
see, see, see.
you can just like see them from different perspectives.
Yeah.
But in some way, and also something that I just starting to see is like the skills that you develop when you are like an entrepreneur. And myself, I was not like being an entrepreneur before, is the skills that right now like many big corporation needs. Imagine
See.
I have a panel in Valencia in 3 weeks, and I need just to start. I need to talk with them in the panel with Danone, like this company from France.
The
Yeah,
big food company,
they
right?
really.
Yeah.
And we were like preparing the panel, and in some questions she was like saying we are like struggling because we are not like finding in the market this like entrepreneurial mindset just to be
Mm.
transforming as a company as we are, because
Hmm.
with this bureaucracy, with this like what is happening with this like big dinosaurs like companies, is like to move something is really difficult, and people don't like people there don't want to be like doing the things in a different way, no, they wanted to
See.
continue like working as they were like doing before, and they're like trying to approach new entrepreneurs to join the company. And I was like saying that when we were like talking with this lady, I just told her like this, that's why in the US like all the big companies are hiring like
Yeah.
entrepreneurs that they were like having the opportunity to be working in their own business, because
Absolutely.
it's like the skills that you like is completely different. I have been working
Yeah.
as a managing
It's kind of
director in
invert.
like other companies, like a CEO in companies, and of course it's completely different from like in my position right now. It's completely different the things that I'm doing now that when I was like leading a big corporation or being leading a big institution at the government.
See. No. Yeah. The as you say, the labor force needs, the skill sets have kind of inverted themselves, right? So we flipped the script. We spent basically the latter part of the 19th and all of the 20th century training to how you and I have mostly worked,
Yeah.
right? And then the world has started to shift. And now I use my daughter as an example all the time. She works here in Hollywood, and I had no idea how the industry worked, right? I just was I love movies, I love TV as a consumer, right? But then she gets inside of it, and my naivete is like, oh, I thought you got a job as a writer for like a big studio, and then you were an employee, and you have like, you have your benefits and your health insurance, and she's like, she starts telling me the stories of like the production company that she worked for, or the people that ran the show called showrunners in television that she was going to work. And I'm like, I was like, wait a minute, this is like 3 years ago. I was like, basically everybody you just described is essentially a consultant.
Yeah.
Like you just described, like everybody is entrepreneurial with their own LLC and their own holding company. And she's like, oh yeah, dad, like everybody, and she's 30. She's like, everybody from like 35 and under is basically looks at their career as like a portfolio of experiences.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like just you're gluing together a series of streams of revenue and income to become, this is my job, right? And it's not just the entrepreneur in the pure sense.
Yeah, the pure sense. Yeah,
It's
now the world's
everybody.
changing
Yeah.
completely fast, and also that's why we need to adapt in some way what the world is
See,
like needing
and
right now.
you are literally adapting as we speak. I love it. All right, so one last fun question, because I'm just curious. You've already said that when someone tastes the Moxe, when they sample the Moxe product, they're like, okay, I need to buy that, right? I want some of that. So when you're out at these mercados and you're out on a weekend on a Saturday and you're literally telling the story and selling and sampling, like are people when they first come up, like the Spaniard, are they like, I only like this type of chocolate, and they don't want to try it, but then you convince them to try it, and do you literally, like, what does their face look like when they try it?
I think they're like here like something that is really interesting with food is people are like looking always for something different. Like here, the food
Okay,
is
so
like
they're
completely at the
experimental.
center of the cultural things or the cultural
Okay.
activities. here in Spain and in Europe, and I think that's good for selling chocolate. The people are like quite
See,
open to taste chocolates, and also, but the thing that is happening right now is like when people taste our chocolates, and it's only not only happening with our chocolates, it's like with this new wave or this new like bean to bar chocolates, that is
yeah,
like this segment that was created in the US during the 90s, just to
okay,
create more like handcraft like chocolates, just to produce with the best quality, just paying fair to like the cocoa farmers, just like
yeah,
doing the whole process, like taking care for the whole process, just to get like a really high quality chocolate at the end in the tablet that you are like consuming. It's not easy just to have this on the market, no, in the supermarket. it's,
see,
it's like as like when you just read the ingredients in one chocolate tablet, it's like there is like many other ingredients that are not
yeah,
chocolate, no?
yeah,
And
yeah,
maybe the
yeah, yeah,
percentage
exactly,
of chocolate is less than
yeah,
40% or 30%, no? and
right,
and that's why they change completely their behavior, because they taste them and say, this is
okay,
like completely different, that I haven't tasted before. And something that is like helping us a lot with the
that's
market
awesome.
is many doctors are like telling their patient to eat more dark chocolates, no, in their diets,
Ah, okay.
because it's a superfood. The chocolates is a superfood too.
Okay. Okay. So you've got a couple of very so okay, so Spaniards, Madrid folks are experiential and experimental. So they're open to it.
Yeah,
And so they're coming to the mercados and they're seeing you and they're like, yeah, let's try this, let's try this. And then when they do, they're in love with it.
yeah, yeah. They love it, and maybe
Because it's natural, it's
70,
good
eighty
for them.
percent of the people who
Yeah.
taste our chocolates buy them.
That's gotta be fun for you. Like that has to just be gratifying for you
No, no, no.
to
It's really
to
good, and also because we
yeah.
have this other like topic that we are like talking about our chocolate. No, it's
See.
more to
See.
talk about the Colombian biodiversity, just to show
No,
another
see,
face
this.
of
I mean,
what
it's
Colombia
yeah.
is. No, because we
But
are not.
for you to sit there, it's not a survey, it's not a report. It's literally like it's a husband and a wife or a grandmother standing in front of you, trying your chocolate, and listening to your story, and then deciding to buy it. That's amazing. Good for you. How exciting. That's really cool. Okay, so last segment because I don't want to keep you up until
Don't
till
worry.
dawn. Right. So I want you to get some rest too after we're done with this. Okay. So all right. So last segment, I like to make this kind of actionable so people can take away a couple of tips or ideas. And there's a couple of different things I was thinking, but with you, I want to talk about this. Like you have such an interesting trajectory. You have a real sense of what it means to go global, right? And again, you're just doing it your way that served you, that was the opportunity that was available to you because of your relationships. And if you were somebody else, you might have done it differently. But you and I both know every entrepreneur in every Latin American country, right? If they start in Colombia or they start in Chile or they start in Argentina, they think of themselves like, how can I get to the Mexican market, right? And then how can I go from the Mexican market into maybe the Latin American Spanish speaking market in the US or right. So I always have said to go global, you start local, right? And so I'm curious, based on now your experiences of truly going global with something that was local in Colombia at first, what would be 2 or 3 strategies that any entrepreneur who's looking to build international relationships, what would be 2 or 3 actionable steps or strategies that any entrepreneur looking to build those international relationships needs to take?
I think first of all is like the networking that you have. No, I think you need just to connect with people that can help you. No, it's like this is like really important when you are like thinking global. No, it's really important just to verify if you have a market outside, and also the best way just to do with your contract through your contacts. No, I think it's really important, and just to
See,
listen them. I think this is like a problem that we as an entrepreneurs we always have. I'm just like including in that, because many people are like giving you like a different like advices, and you never like take them. It's like I don't know what happened with
yeah.
us. It's like we are always like, or no, maybe I understand exactly what is happening. We are like quite busy, and we are not like
See,
having time just to digest what other people are
see,
saying, just to apply them. No, it's really 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 difficult. Second, at the end, is like if you are like thinking like big, of course you need just to move out like in the
okay.
country that you are like currently working. No, you need just to like see which other kind of or like opportunities are like happening like around the world. And maybe
See,
because even that you have like taste your product in Colombia or like in other countries, it's important just to taste it in other, just to see how the people react. No,
Right. Literally, like you're like again, you've been there, you've gone back, but to be there, literally experiencing it on the street and like having direct feedback in the local knowledge of local culture,
and and
that's invaluable.
and also it's like it's not only because of the experience that you have as an entrepreneur. It's like your life experience. It's like I have
See,
the opportunity of being living, traveling, studying
see,
in many countries, and I think this is like the most like stunning like a journey, no, like learning about the
mm-hmm.
others, how the other people think, like other point of view, because sometimes you don't understand what the other people are like saying, is because you don't know how the people lives. It's like what is like happening
See,
around the world with all the politics, or like the
see,
like all the fights that we are like currently having,
yep.
that is like
No,
terrible, no,
that's
it's like and when you are like making your life global, it's you're starting just to change your mind, you're starting just to have
yeah,
more time just to hear. And this is not only for your business, it's also for yourself, because at the end,
just for your life.
for
Yeah,
your life, because at the end, like in my case, I just decided just to like start like this business, just to move on and not like find a new position on a corporate level, no.
yeah.
So
Good
it
for
was
you.
my own decision, no, nobody was like putting my like, or like moving my me to be an entrepreneur. It was myself, just the one who decided to start this business. And in some way, imagine if you are like more like social, if you can just like describe this word, even that I don't like to use them. Imagine just like connecting these people that they are not gonna have like the opportunity to be like visiting Iceland, and they're like producing like some like cocoa that people are appreciating in Iceland.
It's
It's
amazing. It's
amazing. It's like
beautiful.
something
It's beautiful.
that also when you are like in the markets in Iceland, and you speak about the products, we are speaking what is behind. People at the beginning, they didn't know that we were like having cocoa
See,
in Colombia, or like where Colombia
see,
is. And in our like
exactly.
our packaging, we are like inside the packaging, we have always like a map where Colombia is, where these regions.
That's beautiful.
And also just to describe exactly, just to let the people know the difference that we have in Colombia. And that's why it's really like rewarding for you, no, just like it's
No,
not
yeah,
only
it's
that you are like selling chocolates, it's also that you are like showing the others a different like a face of Colombia, no, a different
see,
like many people are like just like what they think about Colombia, but and the country is completely different, as these stereotypes that
no, it's
some people
incredible.
have. And that's why it's like really important just to not being like only with a food product. It's also just to be like changing the image of Colombia outside.
I'm listening with such a huge smile on my face because I couldn't be more proud of you
You
or
don't need to be
excited
proud of me. It's
about
like nobody needs
no,
to be
or
proud.
as a friend because I'm proud of you because you took this, you bet on yourself, right? And you a reasonable risk, but you took a risk in your life path, in your journey, to pursue things that are meaningful to you and to explore and to experiment, right? I mean, and that's but I'm just excited to see your enthusiasm for it. And really, at the end of the day, you just described exactly the person that I met, 7 or 8 years ago now in Mexico, because you're still the bridge builder.
Yes, and this is something that I have to admit that I love to do it.
You're fundamentally the bridge builder still, and you're just now you have found a new set of tools, products, like connect, like purpose behind building bridges, but you're still building bridges, and you're still building bridges from Colombia to the world and from the world to
Yeah.
Colombia, and that's just it's beautiful to hear. So you taught me a bunch about chocolate. You taught our whole audience about chocolate today, which is awesome. You taught us a little bit about the Spanish culture and European culture versus the rest of the world, entrepreneurial markets. You reconnected us to our passion for what's possible in Colombia. And you did it all while fighting a fever and a head cold, which I love. That's you're better than me, and it's almost midnight there in Madrid. So I'm going to just say thank you. Like this is awesome. Thank you.
No, it's a pleasure always just to be talking about this topic with you, Rob.
No,
And you know
always,
it.
always. It's you made my day, and so that other people can find Moshe and or follow your journey. How can they find you online, or find you on social media, or find Moshe and connect?
Yeah, they can just find it in our, like, we have a web page that is www.moshefoods. com. They can find us also in Instagram, and also they can find me in LinkedIn. No, like just
Awesome.
if the people want to know more about the business and all the things that we are like currently doing.
And we'll put all those things in the show notes too, so people can find that. So that's terrific. So good to see you, my friend.
No, it was a pleasure.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did recording it. As always, we thank you so much for listening and watching. Today's show was recorded here in Los Angeles and produced by the incomparable Deanna Bernal in Mexico City. You know, we can only grow this show by you listening and sharing the show with friends. So please find, like, follow, subscribe, and share our audio-only show on Spotify, Apple, or via any other popular podcasting platforms, as well as find the video version of our show now available on our YouTube channel over at Entrepreneurial Thinkers. And of course, you can follow along on our various social media platforms for fun and informative clips and content at Entrepreneurial Thinkers, wherever you can find us. And if you'd like to connect with me, you can find me at I Am Rob Ryan on just about any social media platform. Gracias, thank you, and have an awesome day.